Willkommen. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we have some sort of crazy video. This is called Germany's Economic Meltdown. The truth you're not being told by Cyrus Janssen. Linked in the description as always. So apparently Germany is having an economic meltdown, and there's stuff that we are not being told about it, and Cyrus Janssen has the answers. So let's see what's going on. Los geht's.
When U.S. President Joe Biden traveled to Germany last month, something remarkable happened. Biden was awarded the Order of Merit, one of Germany's most prestigious honors, for his extraordinary contributions to the country. German officials celebrated Biden for his leadership in fighting against Russia and praised him for strengthening Europe's security and democracy. But what if I told you all of this is false? Germany is now facing one of the country's largest economic and political crises, and shockingly, almost every problem Germany now faces can be tied back to poor decisions made from its relationship with the U.S. government.
What? It's all Biden's fault? I knew it.
Germany's enthusiastic commitment to the war in Ukraine, coupled with its crumbling industrial base, energy insecurity, and deteriorating relationship with China, has left the once mighty economic powerhouse fighting for survival. To make matters worse, just 2 weeks after his visit to Germany, Biden greenlit Ukraine's use of U.S. missiles to strike inside Russia, escalating the conflict and introducing one of the gravest security threats Europe has faced in decades. In today's video, we'll explore the rise and fall of the once powerhouse German economy. We'll show you how the war in Ukraine has decimated German manufacturing, but most importantly, we'll also explain how being loyal to the U.S. government has put the future of Germany, and Europe for that matter, in jeopardy. This is an important episode for the future of our world.
Interesting.
Let's dive in. Today's video is sponsored by Private Internet Access. Stay tuned for an exciting offer from our sponsor. For decades, Germany was Europe's industrial power. Access. Stay tuned for an exciting offer from our sponsor. For decades, Germany was Europe's industrial powerhouse, a country renowned for producing world-class cars, household appliances, and chemicals. Since the end of World War II, Germany has enjoyed stability, economic strength, and high living standards. But what we're witnessing today is nothing short of a fundamental shift, a collapse of the Germany we once knew. At the heart of Germany's success was its industrial base. German engineering was the gold standard, and its industries provided millions of high-paying, union-backed jobs. Revenues from these industries funded public services and infrastructure, creating a virtuous cycle of economic growth. To remain competitive, however, these industries required access to cheap inputs, particularly natural gas, which powered factories across the country.
Here comes Russia.
Fortunately, Germany's proximity to Russia made it a natural partner. For years, Russian gas ensured Germany's industrial machine kept running smoothly. But with the war in Ukraine, that critical dependence was severed. Before the conflict, 55% of the natural gas consumed in Germany came from Russia. That number plummeting to zero has been catastrophic for Germany's economy. Few understood the magnitude of this better than Germany's industrial leaders. In the summer of 2022, Martin Brudermüller, CEO of BASF, the world's largest chemical company, sounded the alarm. He warned that imposing an embargo would have devastating consequences.
Well, of course. I think everybody knew that, obviously, but yeah, what are you going to do? I mean, you're going to rely on Russia for energy forever? I don't know.
Do we knowingly want to destroy our entire economy? This would result in the biggest crisis since World War II. The lights will go out and we will see mass unemployment and poverty.
It's a little dramatic, but I understand what he's trying to say.
His words weren't just a warning. They were a prediction. Today, those dire forecasts are becoming reality. The fallout from Germany's deindustrialization is visible everywhere, echoing what happened in the United States during the decline of the American auto and steel industries. The shells of these former factories and surrounding industries have done little but rust over recent years, and poverty has moved in. Unfortunately, this trend has now begun in Germany. More than 1 in 5 Germans now lives at risk of poverty or social exclusion, and this is increasingly visible in public spaces like train stations and urban centers. Crack cocaine and fentanyl abuse are on the rise, and in 2023, the Federal Criminal Police Office recorded 2,227 drug-related deaths, a staggering 12% increase from the previous year.
As an American, those are rookie numbers.
Nearly double the figure from a decade ago. Drug use involving multiple illegal substances such as crack, cocaine, and opioid substitutes saw a 34% surge compared to 2022, coinciding with the onset of the Ukraine conflict. If these trends continue, we may soon talk about cities like Hamburg and Stuttgart the same way we talk about Detroit. German politicians, however, refuse to acknowledge the magnitude of the damage. Even if the initial sanctions on Russia seem defensible, nearly 3 years of hard evidence now point to a stark reality. These policies have destroyed Germany's economy and its decades-long model of prosperity. Yet Germany's leaders remain unmoved. Despite a clear Russian advantage on the battlefield and multiple opportunities for peace, they have refused to negotiate. Instead, they've supported U.S. efforts to escalate the conflict and have rejected more than 5 proposed peace agreements over the past 3 years.
Is he saying that Germany refused to negotiate for peace? Why would Germany negotiate on behalf of the Ukraine? I don't understand that. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't get that.
Putin himself has stated on numerous occasions that restarting the remaining Nord Stream pipelines would take just 1 week, and that he is willing to resume supplying Germany with gas at any time.
Well, of course. Why not? Putin would gladly take Germany's money. Why not?
This is what frustrates many Germans so deeply. Their politicians are stubbornly clinging to ideological commitments and prioritizing U.S. interests over their own people. Germany could save its economy by pursuing a peace deal with Russia and restoring its access to affordable energy. Instead, its leaders are doubling down, militarizing an already weak economy to satisfy Washington's objectives. Despite stagnating growth and a looming recession, Germany continues to aggressively increase military spending every year, spending a record $66 billion in 2023 alone. For every loss that Germany has suffered, the United States has reaped a corresponding gain. And I'm going to break down exactly how the U.S. government is benefiting from Germany's epic collapse. But first, I do want to give a huge thank you to Private Internet Access, who is the sponsor of today's video and an important tool I literally use every single try it all risk-free with a 30-day money-back guarantee. And now let's get back to our story and reveal how the US government has benefited from Germany's collapse. Henry Kissinger famously stated, "It may be dangerous to be America's enemy, but to be America's friend is fatal." And we've never seen a better real-life example of this than observing Germany's natural gas industry.
Being friends with America is fatal. That is quite the sentence right there.
Before the war in Ukraine, Germany imported over 55% of its natural gas from Russia. The price was so affordable that it was the secret to Germany's manufacturing success. But overnight, the Nord Stream pipeline was destroyed, and Germany had no other option but to turn to the United States to purchase its natural gas. In 2023, the European Union spent a staggering $65 billion on liquefied natural gas, LNG, from the United States, marking a 70% increase over previous years. However, this isn't just about value, it's also about price. American LNG comes at a steep cost, with Europe paying 40% more than it would have for Russian gas. Instead of helping its ally, the United States saw an opportunity to profit, and Germany's manufacturing advantage of cheap energy officially disappeared. This trend will only accelerate under a second Trump presidency, as Trump's anticipated removal of environmental protections is poised to supercharge U.S. oil and gas production.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that. Anytime President Trump can cash a check, he's probably gonna do it. Doesn't matter if it's at the expense of allies or nature or humans or anything. If he can cash a check, he's probably going to do it.
Meanwhile, Europe finds itself bowing to Washington in an effort to avoid the Trump administration's proposed tariffs, which could wreak further havoc on EU economies. The US has already signaled that LNG exports will become a critical bargaining chip in future trade talks. This arrangement effectively locks Europe, and especially Germany, into paying inflated prices for US energy. The implications are profound. At the same time Germany struggles with skyrocketing costs, many of its industries are fleeing to the United States. Drawn by lower input costs, weaker unions, and the looming threat of tariffs, 2/3 of German manufacturers have now relocated at least part of their operations abroad, leaving a gaping hole in Germany's industrial base. This hollowing out of the German industry mirrors the devastating deindustrialization that occurred in the United States during the 1970s. As history has shown, abandoning an industrial base is a recipe for long-term decline. In a particularly damaging move, Germany recently abandoned its electric vehicle subsidy plan, effectively cementing its retreat from manufacturing leadership. Rather than investing in the industries of the future, German leaders are diverting resources to fund the war in Ukraine and pursue militarization, policies that ultimately serve Washington's agenda, not Berlin's. But what's sad here is that it's not like Germany doesn't have other options. Over the past 2 decades, China has risen to become a global superpower, and Germany should be working with China to modernize its industrial sector. After all, this kind of collaboration was the foundation of Germany's economic success in the 1980s, when it shared cutting-edge technology with a rapidly industrializing China. But instead of forging partnerships with the Chinese, Germany has chosen to accept and propagate US-led narratives that working with China is a threat to national security.
Well, I think that the production in China is more mass production of low-quality things, and the production of stuff in Germany is high-quality things. And the idea is that once China starts producing high-quality stuff, then everybody in the world is screwed, because then literally everything in the world would be made in China. So I think that's probably more of a threat than whatever this guy's talking about.
Earlier this week, German Federal Minister for Foreign Affairs, Annalena Baerbock, traveled to Beijing for the second time. Her reception was notably cold, a direct consequence of her behavior during her first visit. At that time, during a joint press conference with the Chinese Foreign Minister, Baerbock decided to lecture her counterpart about Taiwan and China's partnership with Russia, provoking a tense exchange. To see this conduct from a diplomat is simply mind-boggling. Even if there are disagreements between two countries, this arrogant and lecturing behavior does nothing but hurt your intended goals for any diplomatic mission. But this is a common theme for Baerbock, as earlier this year a video of her receiving no welcome party upon entry into Malaysia went viral. Similar to the United States, Germany has no room to lecture China on human rights. Germany is one of a handful of states still supporting and arming Israel, as the rest of the world condemns them for committing their ongoing genocide in Gaza. You can't find a better example of the hypocrisy than this viral tweet from James Jackson, who states, "Something about Germans telling the Pope to stay silent about genocide investigations is deeply worrying historically." Despite Germany's embarrassing diplomatic blunders, some German firms have recognized the potential of collaboration with China in shaping the future of electric vehicles. German car companies have leaned into operations in the Chinese market, committing to several joint ventures. Volkswagen has entered into an agreement with the Chinese firm Xiaopeng for a fast joint development of 2 smart e-cars. Mercedes-Benz and Chinese electric vehicle Geely have formally established a joint venture, and Audi has teamed with their Chinese partner SAIC to develop a new China-specific EV brand.
But I thought that he said that Germany isn't working with China. So, I'm not understanding what this guy's talking about.
Partnerships not only leverage China's dominance in battery technology and EV innovation, but also highlight the mutually beneficial outcomes of industrial cooperation. However, these private sector initiatives stand in stark contrast to Germany's broader political direction, which increasingly views Germany through a lens of rivalry rather than opportunity. This disconnect between corporate pragmatism and government policy risk undermining Germany's long-term competitiveness in the industries of the future. Germany's political landscape is in upheaval, marked by the collapse of the governing coalition and Chancellor Olaf Scholz's dismissal of Finance Minister Christian Lindner. This turmoil reflects deep internal crises, along with growing public disillusionment over the government's failure to protect the industrial base, secure affordable energy, and prioritize national interests. Rising poverty, deindustrialization, and widespread frustration have left many Germans feeling abandoned, fueling polarization and radicalization. Voters are now turning away from mainstream parties, demanding new elections and a shift in direction. At a critical crossroads, Germany must choose between reclaiming sovereignty and economic independence or continuing a path of dependency and decline, a decision with far-reaching implications for its future and Europe's stability. But everyone, now it's time to let me know what you think about the future of—
Wow. All right. That was a weird video. I'm not going to lie. That was a weird video. I think I might have accidentally stumbled on some sort of weird, like, fear-monger, what's it called? Sensationalist YouTuber. I don't know. This guy seems to be contradicting himself left, right, and center, and painting a very one-sided picture on things. I'm assuming just to get people riled up, if I had to guess. I mean, Germany has a lot of stuff that is not going perfect for it, obviously, and Yeah, I think there's a lot more to the story than what is in this video. But that's just me. I'm curious what you guys, the experts, have to say about it, since you are the actual Germans. So let me know what you think of the video. Leave your mustard down below. That's all the time that I have for today, though. Thank you guys so much for being here. And as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.